Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Candy here today, and we are back for another video on Hypixel for some more Minecraft Skyblock. Now, I do gotta say thank you guys so much for the support on the last video where I went ahead and showed off the $50 million Midas Sword. So, of course, in today's video, we're going to be comparing the 50 million Midas Sword, the spicy Pigman Sword, the spicy aspect of the dragons, as well as just for kicks, my personal spicy leaping sword. So of course, if you guys do enjoy this video at any time, literally go ahead, drop a like down below. Tell me what sword do you guys think is your favorite, and of course make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Nevertheless, let's go ahead, get right into this video. Alright, so in my last video, I went ahead and showed off the spicy Midas Sword, which my friend Striker bought for 54,040,000 coins. Now, this is probably one of the best swords out there in the game, unless a new update has came out when you guys are watching this video. But this sword deals 290 damage base. And he's also went ahead and added an extra 10 hot potato books on it, giving it plus 20 damage extra. He also did the same thing with the strength. It's got 145 base strength with an extra 20 added from the hot potatoes, as well as the spicy reforge, giving it an extra 5 strength. Now, it also has 100% crit damage, 50% of it being gained from the spicy reforge, as well as an extra 10% attack speed, which honestly doesn't really matter. The sword has pretty much every enchant that you want in the game, and like I said earlier, it literally cost $54 million to get. Now, moving on in my inventory, we've gotten ourselves the spicy Pigman Sword. Now, this sword deals 220 damage base with, of course, an extra 20 added from hot potato books. It's got 125 damage plus an extra 20 from the hot potato books, as well as spicy, giving it an extra 5. It's got a 6% extra crit chance and an extra 120% crit damage. The Pigman Sword has a pretty special place in my heart because it was actually one of the most OP swords to come out when the game actually launched, and it pretty much takes people like 2 weeks or so to actually get enough materials to craft it simply by just AFKing or actually killing pigs, rather than the Midas Sword, which you can go ahead and buy from Dark Auction, or a aspect of the dragons, which you can actually get within 5 minutes just by killing the dragon. Speaking of the aspect of the dragons, the one that we have in our inventory deals 245 base damage with an extra 20 added from the hot potatoes. It's got 125 damage plus another 20, like I said, from the hot potatoes, and spicy, giving it an extra 5. It's got 100% crit damage and an extra 10% attack speed. Now, just for the memes, I want to go ahead and show my personal sword, which is the spicy leaping sword. It deals 150 damage. We don't have any hot potato books because we literally can't afford them. It deals 103 strength, and then we also get an extra 107% crit damage with spicy, giving it an extra 32%. While all of these swords are ridiculously overpowered, there's a substantial price difference between each one. For example, if you want to go ahead and get yourself an aspect of the dragons, you can actually go in the auction house and get one for around $7 to $8 million. If you want to go and get yourself a spicy Pigman Sword, this one ending in 7 hours is currently going for $8 million. And if you want to go ahead and get yourself a leaping sword like me, you can get it in the auction house for between $3 and $4 million. Now, the Midas Sword did cost $54 million, meaning that rather than getting one of these, Striker could have actually gotten between 6 and 7 of either a spicy Pigman Sword or a spicy aspect of the dragons. But I guess when you're balling like he is, you can afford to buy anything. Alright guys, so we have manifested into the end where we're going to be testing out the damage of each sword onto the zealots. Now, the zealots are the naturally spawning mobs which actually have the most amount of health. As you guys can see, with Optifine Zoom, they've got 13,000 health each, and with each one of these swords, we should be able to go ahead and one-shot it. Now, looking quickly at my armor, I've got full unstable, and without actually holding any of the swords, I have an 85% chance to deal crit damage, and I also have a 255% crit damage with all of my talisman as well as the armor. Alright guys, so the first sword we're going to be testing is my personal spicy leaping sword. Now, with my full unstable gear, I've actually been able to one-shot these zealots pretty easily. If we go ahead and take a look at this guy, he's got 13,000 health, but if we go and one-shot him, we dealt 15,961 damage. If you go ahead and hit another one, we basically do the same thing, hitting an endermite, we deal, I didn't even see what number that was. Hitting a watcher, we do a little bit over 13,000 damage, and I'm not sure if there's any endermites around here, but I'm pretty sure we deal the same amount of damage to those as well. The next sword we are going to be testing is the spicy Pigman Sword with the books added onto it. Now, let's go ahead and hit one of these really quickly. 18,000 damage over there, 20,000 damage over here, and then 17,000 damage over here. Wow, this is actually not that consistent. 20,000 damage over here, 20,000 damage over there, and then let's see how much damage we actually do to this obsidian defender. 17,500, not bad. So definitely quite a bit of a leap against the leaping sword, but once again, it is pretty much 2 to 3 times as expensive. So the next weapon we're going to be looking at is the spicy aspect of the dragons. Now, I assume this is going to be a little bit better than the Pigman Sword simply because it actually starts off with more damage as well as more strength. But let's go ahead, hit a full health zealot and see how much damage you do. So wow, 23,000 damage, not too bad. Let's go ahead, hit another one, 21,000, hit an endermite, 19,000, hit another zealot, 21,000. Let's go ahead and hit an obsidian defender just to kind of see how much damage you do. So 18,000 over there, and then another 18,000. Let's go ahead and finish it off with some watchers. I didn't even see how much damage that was. 19,000 and then 16,000. So this damage is actually not as consistent that I would have expected. But let's go ahead and hit one more zealot, 23,000 damage. You can't really go wrong with that. It is definitely a step up over the Pigman Sword, but since both go for relatively the same price, I don't know which one is actually a better deal. Alright guys, so the final sword that we're going to be testing out is the $54 million Midas Sword. So with paying 54 million coins on it, I would hope that it actually deals 54 million damage, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and one-shot one of these watchers. 22,000 damage in it, not as much as I was expecting. Let's go ahead and hit another zealot, 26,000 damage, and let's go ahead and hit one more. Basically, we got 30,000 damage out of that one. That's actually really nice. And then 28,000 off of this one, and the last zealot that we're gonna go ahead and hit, another 26,000 damage. So definitely probably the best sword on the list. We actually dealt a little bit more than like 5, 6, even 7,000 more damage depending on the type of crit damage that we got, depending on if first strike hit, or depending on if some of the other enchants procced on it. But the Midas Sword definitely comes out on top whenever killing these zealots. Alright, so this wouldn't be a showcase video if I didn't go one-shot everybody in the arena, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're going to be testing out each one of these swords against a player in the Colosseum. Now, the first one that we're going to be hitting him with is the Spicy Leaping Sword. Obviously, I don't think that we're going to one-shot him, but let's go ahead and see how much damage we deal. So 1,059 damage. We actually brought him down quite low. 217, but definitely not enough to one-shot him. He's in actually full strong right now, giving him a total of 633 defense. But if you go ahead and hit him with the Pigman Sword, I'm pretty sure that we'll actually be able to one-shot him. There we go, we won the event. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and then join in the next one and see how much damage we can do with the Pigman Sword and if we'll actually be able to go and one-shot him. Alright, so we've got the Spicy Pigman Sword. Let's go ahead and if we can one-shot him. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we one-shot him, so that pretty much means that the aspect of the dragons as well as the Midas Sword should be able to go ahead and one-shot him. But to make sure, we're just going to go ahead and queue one more time, or I guess 2 more times, and then see if we're actually going to be able to do it. Using the aspect of the dragons now, let's go ahead and see if we one-shot him. I'm pretty sure we will, but 3, 2, 1, boom. Alright, so you literally got one shot, and obviously I think that in the last one we're definitely going to be able to one-shot, but let's go ahead and do it one more time and see what happens. Alright, so we're kind of finding a random kid now instead of the dude that I was originally supposed to fight, but let's just go ahead and one-shot him really quickly. I mean, this guy was probably on like, I don't even know what type of armor. And finally, we're going to be using the Spicy Midas Sword. I'm pretty sure that we're going to go ahead and one-shot, but nevertheless, 3, 2, 1, boom, one shot. So with strong dragon armor, you can actually go and get one shot by the Spicy Midas Sword, the aspect of the dragons, as well as the Pigman Sword. Unfortunately, you can't one shot with the Leaping Sword, but I imagine if I did actually have some hot potato books on it, I would be able to one shot. But we dealt around 1,000 damage with it, which really isn't too bad, especially against a player in strong, which is currently the second best dragon set in the game. Alright, so after testing all of these swords at the Colosseum as well as in the end killing zealots, I can safely say that the Spicy Midas Sword is the best damage wise, followed by the aspect of the dragons, the Pigman Sword, and then the Leaping Sword. Now honestly, personally, I think I would go ahead and get myself a Leaping Sword, which I actually have right now because I'm able to go ahead and one shot the zealots. I'm able to do a pretty decent amount of damage to the players, and quite frankly, I don't have to go ahead and break the bank to do it. Now the Pigman Sword is kind of nice, but you do have to grind quite a while to go ahead and get it. And of course, if you do just grind a little bit for some summoning eyes, you can actually get an aspect of the dragons relatively easy in comparison to like how long it would take you to go and get $50 million for a Midas Sword, or just literally go and actually AFK the pigs to get the Pigman Sword. So even though the Midas Sword definitely deals the most damage out of any sword in the game, would I recommend you guys go and spend $50 million on it? Absolutely not. Simply because that money could be used on so many other things. For example, if I had that money, I would go get myself maybe an aspect of the dragons or a Pigman Sword, maybe spend some of it on like my family, maybe go ahead buy myself a Lamborghini or just a better set than Unstable. But you guys get the point. Is it worth it? Definitely not. Am I happy that Striker actually went and got it? 100%. But nevertheless, guys, that is gonna be it for this video. If you did enjoy and want to see some more content like this, make sure you guys drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. I post content like this pretty frequently, so if you're interested, definitely go ahead and do what I said. But nevertheless, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.